Clock killing Corey Dillon coming up next on the Wincinnati podcast.
Yes. Hello, world. We got a special show as always. TJ Houshmandzada, Jimmy Chase, Coach Jimmy Burrow.
Exciting time to be a Bengals
How do you
fan.
balance being a professional athlete and family obligation?
These are top 5 Bengals of all time.
All time, man.
Yeah.
Shock the world.
Welcome to the Wincinnati podcast. I am Ace. He is Zim. Zim, we have a special guest coming into your speakers today. Corey Dillon, running back legend. We're going to go ahead and bring him on the show. He's going to join us live coming up next. Then we're going to talk about a documentary that's been out, the quarterback documentary. Pat Mahomes had some things to say. We'll talk about him and what Joe Burrow said in response to some of his comments about Jamar Chase. Then we're going to turn to the roster, looking at the defensive line and all of that coming up next. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome in. He's top 5 in my book, Corey Dillon. What's up, bro?
Hey, thank you, and thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. No problem at all. We're happy to have you back amongst us in Bengals Nation. What has your experience with social media kind of been like since you joined Instagram?
It's been slow, like I like it. I'm an introvert anyway, so I'm not really tripping about it.
Facts.
I'm just taking my time with it.
Yes,
Have you and I follow you on Instagram. I love all the stuff, the posts. I feel like you're putting people on game. It's a lot of young boys out here, young boys and girls that have been checking out your stuff, probably not really hip to your game. Do you feel like your time in Cincy, part of like why you're showing some of the stuff that you're showing on Instagram now, is it because like you feel like you didn't get the market shown all the eyes on you? You got the Pac shirt on, all eyes on you when you played in Cincy? And that's part of the discussion that we're currently having right now?
Well, like when I played, it wasn't really no social media, to be honest. If I played like in an era like it is now, maybe, I'd be more visible far as, with the IG and all this other stuff. But, my time is my time. So what I like to do, there's a lot of content on the internet that I like, that's mine. And I'm taking it back. So that's what I just be reposting stuff that I find on the internet and just putting it out there and letting people know, you know what? I play some pretty good football.
Do you think the Bengals players in your era and before just have a hard time being like noticed because the national media kind of has this reputation of the Bengals just being a bad franchise?
You hit it on the head, man. Absolutely. Back when I played with the Bengals, no, we didn't get that national exposure. We wasn't on TV as much as all these other franchises. So in my case, I don't think people around the country really know who we were back then. You know what I mean? So you would have to catch like a freakish Thursday night game where we're on, late night, and to see what we're about. So all that plays a part into what's going on, like in the media, as far as, old school Bungals and, us not being recognized as good players.
Facts. It still takes some of that to this day. They still consider us that
Right.
sometimes.
Absolutely.
Man, I hear that sometimes. Well, a friend of our show, Bengals Gym, we seen you on there the other day. Shout out to Bengals Gym. I think a lot of this stemmed early on, or the conversations of last week, from the article that was in the Athletic. Since then, I feel like you smoothed over a lot of stuff that people got misconstrued. I don't know if you want to speak on some of that stuff that maybe you thought got taken out of context. But my real question, though, to you is, since then, has anybody from the front office and the Bengals or anybody reached out to you?
That's a definitely no. Like I thought, you know what I mean? So listen, that interview I did, me and him was going back and forth. It was more joking. I was more joking and laughing along with him. So, and I think a lot of people sometimes, like, if they don't see me talking live, they think I just woke up and was angry and was just talking shit. And that's totally wasn't it. I said a couple of things about I think John Kitna and somebody else, right? That's a joke. Y'all don't like my sense of humor.
Facts.
Okay, my bad. You know what I mean? So it was all in a joking manner. It was never like I was aggressive or angry at Mike Brown or anything like that. I was just voicing my opinion. That's all.
Nah, that's fact. I got the joke because I've been watching you forever, so I was laughing when you said that
Yeah,
on there myself.
Kitna and Scott Mitchell. Yeah, it was a joke, man. So that's all it was, man.
For sure, for sure. So obviously you said they didn't reach out. Let's say that I'm Mike Brown. What would be the
Okay.
first thing you would want me to say on behalf of you and your former teammates?
I would want you, like, first of all, there's a lot of us. It's just not me. I want you guys to understand. It's just not me. That's everybody think I'm frustrated. Man, there's a whole list of ex-players who left Cincinnati not in a good fashion or not on good terms. You know what I mean? So it's just not me. I just want you to do right by us. You know what? I did play there, and I just want you to recognize my game and put some respect on my name. That's it. That's all I want. I mean, I'm not asking for no Super Bowl tickets. I just want what's rightfully mine, and I do think I deserve that jacket. Bottom line. Now, my whole thing is this, man. I don't like feeling like I have to tap dance for something I already righteously earned.
Right.
So, and for me to even have to speak my opinion on this matter, this thing it's a no-brainer. You know what I mean? So that's where I'm kind of at with it. Hopefully they will see it my way. Do I think anytime soon? Hell's no. But but hopefully in time we can have a decent conversation and get some of this stuff smoothed out.
The fans might force their hand, though, to make you have that conversation because they have an opportunity to vote for things like the Ring of Honor. And I think, and you can speak on this on your own, I think it's a situation where it's just not enough guys can get in, and it's so many guys that are deserving of it. Do you have any thoughts like that you want to reiterate or even just speak out on the Ring of Honor stuff? Because I thought some of that stuff got taken out of context as well.
Well, look, man, that organization was started when, in 1968, if I'm correct. Dude, it's taking you to 2017 to recognize your own. That itself needs to be fixed. I mean, you're like, in my mind, maybe I'm wrong thinking like this, but to me, you're like 20 to 30 years behind. This should have been already started a long time ago, where guys shouldn't have to be sitting here waiting. You know, the real question is, what took you so long? That's not on me. That's a question you got to ask the front office. What took you so long to finally recognize your players? You know, I'm being super sincere here, man. There's hey man, some of us ain't making it to see that day. You feel what I'm saying?
That's real. Yeah.
You know, and my thing is, I want to see the day. I don't want my kids showing up to the function speaking on my behalf. I want to actually be there. So
that's real.
I just think the process is, you know, is a slow trickle, and maybe it just needs to be altered a little bit. Instead of putting two in, put in four or something.
I was just gonna say, I don't think you'll never get the answer that the question you just asked on what took you so long. I don't think you're going to get that.
I'm never going to get that.
You're not going to get that. But and I think that, to me, a lot of people probably wondering the same thing. But I think the only solution is like what you said. I do think that like if it's a guy like a Dave Lapham, you maybe put in a different spot for like a media personality in the same year as the two guys, and then you figure out different ways. Maybe you can put in a group of offensive line one time. Like we got to brainstorm and figure out something. Because
for me, I think they should just take those Super Bowl teams. They should just automatically put them in and just continue from there. Because that way you get that back.
How many though?
I think you just put them in. We too far behind.
Is anybody though?
No. Anybody that's a candidate. So like anybody that was a member of those 70s and 80s teams,
Right.
candidate,
Right.
just go ahead and throw them in there. Go ahead and throw them in there.
And then on top of that, man, I'm not pooping on the season ticket holders voting, man. In some of these cases, man, why should there be a vote? What you needed to vote on Anthony Munoz? Are you serious? Really? Ken Anderson, Kenny Wright, you needed to vote on these players, huh? Really? That's not even a vote, you know. So yeah. I think it's in some cases
isn't a vote to me.
That's what I'm saying as well. That's automatic bid, but I'm not down there, and I haven't been in so many years. I don't know what's going on in front office, you know. And before I keep voicing my opinion, you know what? I would like to speak to somebody in the front office and get a better awareness of, you know, the process.
For sure. No, that's real. We know that you have some history with our producer Sova, going back to him making the bus for you with the cornrows.
Exactly.
We wanted to show you a couple options. We're gonna show you a couple.
Okay,
options.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
On the screen. Which one would you choose? Which one of these three would you choose?
Oh no! Hey man, why y'all do me like that?
Hey, that's sober. That's all sober.
Hey, definitely not with my cornrows out. That's a no. I'm gonna go with the top one, man. I'm gonna go with the top one. That was my rookie year.
The one on the right, what is that called? The skinny pork chop? What are you calling that?
Man, I'm calling them the skinny pork chops, brother.
Skinny pork chops.
I don't know what I was thinking that year. I'm gonna tell you that right now. I don't know.
Hey, so you ain't got the players ball joint that CD came out with? You ain't got the one where he got the minked out like? Oh, what happened to him?
Nah, he said he ain't got that one. That would be crazy. I don't know if they could put the mink. You couldn't tell he got the mink on with the bus.
I don't know.
It looked like his mic went out.
I was about to say, I don't know. We lost him. Somebody probably tried to call him or something. The skinny pork chop though is crazy. Some people call him the ludicrous.
Yeah. There you go.
The ludicrous. There you go. Definitely, that was definitely some Luda vibes right there.
a little chicken and beer, I guess.
Hey, that's crazy. I got a little again, Ryan. You got me a little off topic with the pork chops and stuff, but I did want to talk about like with the Ring of Honor stuff. Just going back to it really quick,
right?
I wanted to talk like there was a video that was floating online, right? And it was you throwing like now I'm a younger Bengal fan to some.
Oh, okay.
I'm like in the midway point. But I remember as a kid, like my dad kind of schooling me on like, you know, like the whole Mike Brown's cheap, all these different things like that, and saying hey, look, like he kind of encouraged me to be a Bengal fan too at the same time.
Right.
I remember watching that and I thought the context of the video was taken out like in this regard. I remember watching that and feeling like not like F the world, but like, man, I gave you everything I got. And we kind of were like, bro, we deserve better type stuff. And I feel like right now what you're doing on some of the stuff that you're saying in terms of the Ring of Honor and stuff, you mentioned other people. To me, it's like, do you feel like you're a representation of like the people that aren't speaking, and that's why you feel like you got to speak up on these moments? And then talk to me about that. Like, what is the throwing the shoulder pads in the crowd? Because a lot of people aren't catching like what that was about.
Okay, I'm gonna explain that too, but like and I speak to them often, and there's a lot of former players that's frustrated. I'm just the guy that likes to speak. You know what I mean? And I can't speak for them, but I will. You know what I mean? I will. You know what I mean? Because some stuff that needs to be said, and then there's some stuff that's just too personal that I let them speak for themselves. But in some way, I do kind of represent that pack of players who felt they were wrong. You know what I mean? And the whole thing about this, and I just talked to a fan. He jumped in my DM about this, about he felt some type of way on how I left, right? So me and him get into a conversation, and the conversation went along the lines like this: like that last year there, I don't think you guys know. Like when I was hurt, they were trying to trade me, right? You know what I mean? So to me, I felt that's the ultimate disrespect for somebody who's been out there grinding for 7 years and giving his all to that organization. I didn't say a word. I really, that whole year, I really didn't say nothing, man. I was just healing up and trying to get back on the field. So when that last game came, in my mind, I wanted the fans to have it, because I felt if I took it back in there, I don't know what's going to happen to it. You know, they're going to strip it down. They're going to put another number on it. Hell, they might have melted the helmet. I don't know. To me, I felt it'll be in better hands if I had one of these lucky fans have my equipment. And that's all I was thinking. It was nothing in disrespect whatsoever. You know, in my mind, it was hey, this is probably the last time you guys gonna see me. Yeah. Here's my stuff. Somebody take care of it. And that's all that was.
Well, I was proud because I'm a young Bengals fan. I grew up in the trenches, like the 99, 2000 era, Dick LeBeau. I was at the game that you ran for 278. I didn't know until like 15 years later that was the first win in Paul Brown Stadium. Obviously, that's where, to me, you just put the stamp on everything as a Bengals player. Like, those teams were not good. You were clearly the best player on a lot of those teams. Like, when it comes to the new Bengals now, is it kind of weird? Because it was kind of a full circle moment for me when we was in the Super Bowl and I saw the Bengals logo on the Rams Stadium. I'm like, is this real? Because I remember the days that we were celebrating 8-8 like it was the Super Bowl. What was that like with you seeing the current Bengals make it to the Super Bowl?
Man, I was happy, man, because in my mind, it's going to erase some of that bungle stuff, man. That Joe Burrow, man, is transforming that organization as he should. You know what I mean? Right. So their success is mine. You know what I mean? Because the more success they have, it's less talk about how bad they used to be. You feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's a good thing, man. And I'm cheering for the young man. That young man can play. He's a generation talent, man. Stop playing with him, man. Pay him immediately, like right now. You know, and keep building around him. He's gonna be very, very good for years to come.
When Ace was just talking about the Super Bowl, you know, with the Bengals, and I was with him, and we went out of there pretty fast, and it was a good day, but you know, didn't win.
Right.
Talk to the people about then going to the Patriots, because for me and a lot of other Bengals fans, I was rooting for you. I didn't hate the Patriots at the time,
right?
So, like, talk to the people about like that feeling. What did it feel like? What were you feeling like when you look back and reflected on Cincinnati as you're holding that Super Bowl trophy in your hand, and like walk me through that point?
And that just gave me chills, man. It's like this is all the work since I was 6 years old. Everything I put into that game was worth it. Everything in that moment, it was worth it, because that's all I wanted to do. That was been on my mind of being an NFL football player and winning the Super Bowl for the longest. And to actually get there and accomplish what you've been dreaming for years, man, there's no feeling like it, man. None.
That's real. That's real.
And that's real. I will remember that moment until I'm gone. You know what I mean?
That's real. Yeah, a lot of people in Cincinnati were pulling for you during that time. Obviously, we'll get you out of here to be respectful of your time. But obviously, you played with Brady. Been a lot of comparisons with Joe Burrow and Brady. Do you see some of that Tom Brady in Joe Burrow?
Man, I see that swag. Yes, indeed. I see it, man. I see it, and I would say, man, hey, he commands and demands respect, and I like that about him, man. He's how can I say this? He's a good leader, man. He's a very good leader. And I see from the outside looking in, like his teammates will follow him anywhere. You know what I mean? And that's what you want. That's what you want out of your quarterback. A confident dude who goes out there and give it his all. You, your teammates will rally around that all day. Absolutely.
For sure.
Corey, before we let you go, I remember you being a car collector at some point or reading
Right.
about it at one point. For the car enthusiasts, I'm a super casual. I'm not as into cars as probably someone like
Right.
yourself. What is one car that you got to, like, if you could tell somebody if they had enough money that they need to mash the gas on to fill the engine? Like, what is the one car that you say that you've driven that you just like, man, you need to push the gas and fill that engine?
Man, oh, dude, I'm a Ferrari guy, man. So if you get an opportunity to get your chips right and get in one of those, man, go ahead and do it. You know, and smash out, man. I was doing about, I say about 200 one time, and it felt like I was doing 60. So
Whew.
yeah, them days is over. I done grew out of that phase. You know what I mean? Them days is way over. But
200. Jesus
hey,
Christ.
man, if you got your chips right, go check it out.
Well, Corey, we want to thank you, man. You've been amazing. We appreciate you. You know we rocking with you on the
I
Hall of
appreciate
Fame,
y'all.
the Ring of Honor, and everything, bro. Definitely make sure that you guys check out his Instagram. He's got the popcorn going off right now. But let people
Yeah,
know where they
kudos
can find
snacks.
you at.
Kudos snacks, man. Look me up. Hey, come over. Hey, come follow me. I'm just gonna give you some real talk and keep it 100. That's all I do. So, and I'm kind of boring, but hey, sometimes I'll make you laugh with some of my posts too. So, come follow me.
Now you got some stuff. I mean, even if it's just the highlights, I find like, man, that's a lot of stuff that kind of walks me back down memory lane. If you in Cincy, we got a spot for you. A company called Midwest Best Barbecue. If you ever come there, they're the biggest Bengals fans in the entire world. They will roll out the whole entire red carpet for you anywhere near that stadium. I promise you. Just come there. I'm gonna send you the info.
I will be there, brother. Trust me.
I'm telling you. Wait till you. And then
I
the
will
food.
be there. Trust me. I'll make
Okay.
it. I will make it.
What's your Instagram so people can follow and then go check out the kudos?
Hey, Corey Dillon 28, man. Come follow me, brother.
Yes, sir. Well, Corey, we appreciate you again, brother. Who that?
Man, thank you, man. I love y'all, man. One love, always.
Yes,
love
sir.
you too, bro. Appreciate you. Talk to you soon.
Corey Dillon, man, the legend, bro. That's my
How
whole
that feel for you,
childhood
Ace?
right there.
I know. I'm about to say, hey, look, I'm gonna tell y'all, everybody. That's Ace's like for real. Like, is that in your? That's top what?
He's in my top 5, man. I know people are gonna be like, how this and that. He's in my top 5. When I first fell in love with the Bengals, when we were bad and all of that, Corey Dillon was like the bright light of that entire team, bro. Like he was the offense. Like the defense was bad, the offense was bad, the coordinators was bad, the coach, everything was bad, and this dude was like turning up. Like I still remember being at that game, bro. Like when I was at the game, a lot of those fans, those Broncos fans, were talking trash the whole game. And when Corey Dillon took off and did that, I remember leaving the stadium talking trash to those Broncos fans on the way out. And those were the years where we were winning like 2-3 games a season, bro. So I was somewhat sad that he didn't get to be there for the Marvin Lewis era where we just ascended. But I kind of understood, like a lot of people that watched him back then, he's always been an outspoken person. That's not new. That's not him changing who he is. That was always CD. But to me, he was just, when I think about 90s Bengals, he's like at the top there for me.
Can you believe that you just interviewed him now?
That's crazy. That's crazy, bro. Interviewing Corey Dillon is crazy. Like
it's kind of crazy.
AJ Green, TJ, Willie, a lot of these dudes that we've interviewed is like kind of crazy.
Yeah,
Jeff
some
Blake.
of the players. Yeah, some of the players that play now, I like. I just feel like it's such a natural conversation, but. You know, like I'm pretty sure if I saw Corey Dillon in person, I'm probably like, hey, what's up, bro? You know, like whatever, right. you know how we rock. But at the same time, I do kind of sit back sometimes and be like, man, like that's a big part of like why I'm a Bengals fan. And you were talking about that 2000 era. I like the Bengals. I didn't quite love them. And we and you talked about this. Yeah. I became like this raging Bengals fan when I got to the early 2002, 2003 area, like around that spot. That's like the sweet spot for me. I remember like the Odell Thurman, like, rookie season and stuff, like a lot of different things. Like that's 2005. But I remember a lot of different things like way more vividly. And then me and you talked about this all the time. Since I met Ace, he's always been a big Corey Dillon fan. So I had to ask him that and just be like, man, what did that feel like? Because for me, it is a little surreal, when I think about all the different battles that you're trying to tell all these people, like, bro, the Bengals are good, bro. And then when they aren't good, you're like, but look, we had Corey Dillon, bro. Like, so it's
like he epitomizes the Bengals, bro. He was a beast, but he never got the credit he deserved. And I feel like that's been what the Bengals are. Like, we've had great players, bro. Like you said, like you talk about that offense with Carson and all of that. But then people compare us to the Browns, and it's like, nah, the Bengals, we've had some dogs. Like it just, to me, it just really epitomizes it. But yeah, that was definitely a full circle moment. I ain't even gonna hold you. That was crazy. But let's tee up Pat Mahomes. Let's get back to the current. Netflix documentary came out. They kind of did this behind the scenes thing. So if you haven't checked it out, please check it out. It's got Pat Mahomes, Kirk Cousins, and Marcus Mariota. It's almost kind of like a little Hard Knocks-ish a little bit. So you get to see these behind-the-scene clips. One of them, it was about Pat Mahomes talking about the 2022 playoffs, and they were discussing, I think the Bengals were about to play the Bills. So this is before the game, and someone asked him, like, who he would rather play, and he said that we match up better with the Bills, but I want to play the Bengals. He felt like we was talking trash. He wanted to smoke with the Bengals. But he also has some dope things to say about Burrow. But he obviously respects us, and he obviously acknowledged the whole 0-3 record, I think, with saying that. What were your thoughts, like, seeing the behind the scenes? I didn't know Pat Mahomes talked so much trash. Like, when I don't know if you – I don't probably watched like 3 episodes. He's a little fiery. He kind of like, I didn't know he was like that. But what were your thoughts on his comments, and how did that make you feel as a Bengals fan?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you guys. I haven't seen the show. I have seen clips.
Yeah.
So there's that. But out of the clips that I saw, mind you, I do not speak for all Bengals fans in this regard. Like, and I want to be very careful on what I say. But for me, I thought him as a competitor, I'm sure the Bengals players, I sometimes like, they'd be like, bro, think you're on the team. I think the Bengals players probably appreciated the fact that he said that they were better than the Bills, and that the Bills' only shot is because the Bengals had 3 offensive linemen down. And maybe because I'm super, super confident in my team that I root for the Bengals, that I took that as, yeah, he recognizes that this is probably like his best shot to really play it. That might be just the gamesmanship in me. The part about the rivalry and him wanting to play, like I said, I don't speak for all Bengals fans. I didn't even care about that part. For me, it's like, and the reason why I feel like that is because of Corey Dillon's of the world, Willie Anderson's of the world, and all these different things that me and you, Bengals Jim, all these guys are fighting for. Everybody is so quick in the media, I feel like, to try to attach us to another team when this could be our moment. And think about this. If you are to go beat the Kansas City Chiefs coming up at New Year's Eve, what they going to tell you? They're going to say, you ain't do it in the playoffs. So to me, it didn't say you win a championship. They're going to say, well, you only got one. So for me, I'm a very radical person sometimes in like my assessment of things. I get a lot of people think that a rivalry is fun. I don't. Like I told you this before. I don't. Yeah. I'm a real crazy Bengal fan that is very fixated on the Bengals winning, and I don't even care about his documentary. I don't care who he thinks is his rivalry. I don't think, because none of that stuff can help anything that I'm trying to, like, that we're trying to accomplish. And that's just my personal thing. I think it's dope if you're into the rivalry. I think it's dope that you love that. But for once in my life, I want the Bengals to stand on their own mountain and get the recognition that they deserve. So the Corey Dillons of the world, the Ocho Cincos of the world, the Jamar Chases, I don't need to be talking about Pat and Burrow. And like, I just want to go in and lock in on what we do. Because Bengals can come out there and lose week 1, lose week 2, and everybody going to laugh at you, and you can still be talking about a rivalry. And I'll be like, yeah, bro, we got to go get a championship. So for me, that's my overall take on the whole thing. And then maybe their fans that push me that way, where they're taking away wins. I'm from the old school where you win a game, we count it. Browns fans tell us every day that, bro, we I don't even know the record. Y'all 2-8 against or whatever. I'll be like, yep, you know what? You're right. But let's see you do it here. Or, you know, like I took that L on the chin. These people telling you right now, like, yeah, the 3-1 doesn't even count. Yeah, so we can't do no rivalry. I'm crazy like that. So that's how I feel about it. But I thought that those comments that he made, to me, I respected it and I appreciated him at least acknowledging, unlike their fans, that the Bengals are good. And I think as fans, you just want to hear other people say, hey, your team is good.
Yeah, I think players know what's up. Like they know the talent that we have. They know the team that we have. Sova just said that Corey wanted to tell everyone who they. He didn't get to say that before he left, so he wanted us to get that message across to y'all. For me, I get it. Like to me, I want to be the team that beats Pat Mahomes. I want to be that team that dethrones them out of the AFC and kind of changes history. And if Burrow can get on that same level, because I do feel like I'm not saying that I agree with Coach JB from the Netflix show or whatever. He came out and he said something that I do agree with. I do feel like a lot of people anoint Pat Mahomes to this level that he's already the GOAT. Like it kind of reminds me, and I don't know if this is a good parallel or not, because I'm not trying to come off as a hater because I'm from Ohio, but it's kind of like when LeBron started winning and they would put him over Kobe and Jordan, like when he already had like 2 rings. It's like, nah, you got to pump your brakes. And it's like, are we just going to ignore that there's this other guy, Joe Burrow, that came from LSU, that has this crazy like trajectory that he's had in the NFL, going to the Super Bowl with a horrible offensive line where I don't know if anybody else would do that. Like, I don't feel like it's like, oh, Pat Mahomes is just that guy. Let's just give it to him for this whole next generation. We still got to let this play out. I respect Pat Mahomes. I think you could say that he's currently the best quarterback. I still think Joe is coming for him, like straight up. Like you can quote that, you can snip that, you can do whatever you want with that. I still feel like Joe is coming for him. Like you might feel like he's in a tier by himself. Joe is on his heels. And if Joe starts to put together what we can do with this team for the next decade, yeah, that's why I'm like, yeah, we're going to be there right with y'all.
I think if Joe Burrow goes this year, like I said, there's a Super Bowl or bust. If Joe Burrow goes this year and wins the Super Bowl, he automatically, I will present the greatest argument to you already, like about Joe Burrow being the best quarterback in the NFL. I would have presented the same argument to everybody if they had just won that game. But because, like you said, I respect Pat Mahomes, but that's part of the conversation. He's acknowledging that that the Bengals were missing 3 offensive linemen, where their side is saying, we don't care about that. We was missing guys too. But I'm just here to tell y'all, like,
Pat I just know ankle and all of that. But Pat was talking about how we didn't have 3 linemen.
It to me, I don't know if y'all seen Warren Sharp preview. He's wrote up a great article. Me and you talked about this. Shout out to Mom Bengals Post. Make sure y'all check them out. He talked about how the ankle actually probably helped him. And that might sound like a radical thought, but he goes over how quick he had to get rid of the ball because of it. In all the other games, because he held the ball after 2.75 seconds, any of those games, Pat Mahomes has a 12-10 record. So to a Bengals fan versus, you know what it is? Every time that you talk about Pat Mahomes to another team, it's always a team that he's beat the dog crap out of, right?
Yeah.
So they're like, what? You mean like Joe Burrow? But you're a Bengal fan. And I'm like, bro, I've seen him 4 times. And out of the 4 times, the only time that I lost is considering these extreme circumstances in this ungodly amount of pressure on Joe Burrow. I like my chances. In December, I thought we played them in, there's a game, the game me and you was at, that Saints game. the Falcons game, the Panthers game, and then when we played them in December are the most comfortable I've ever seen Joe Burrow look. He threw 80% in that game with a healthy line. Remember, he was charted as 1 sack in that game, but that 1 sack was him running up to the line of scrimmage thinking that he got to the line of scrimmage. They didn't even really sack him in that one game. And you mean to tell me that that's the team that everybody's telling me is so much better than Joe Burrow?
I just got down, bro.
I can't do it. And then like the Bengals keep on talking. I'm like, bro, I got good enough information for me to tell you like this is why I feel this way. If they don't want to hear that, that's cool. But I'm just letting everybody know, don't be shocked if Joe Burrow comes there with a healthy O-line and a fairly healthy team, or whatever, and that game isn't what they thinking is going to be, just like the other 3.
And I think I'm with Joe Burrow, man. I'm not bowing down. Like he just said, he had some comments where he came back responding to Pat Mahomes, like comments or clap back to Jamar. And he said the best thing about it is that it's all settled on the field. So we're going to see you in December, straight up. Like we're not bowing down and all of this. Nah. It's gonna be up for anybody in this next season, and I like our chances. I like what we're doing with the offensive line. We got one of your boys blocking for us now. This is 2023. This ain't 2022 anymore. So yeah, we in 2023 now. But let me go ahead and move on to the defensive line. How much do you think injuries will slow down the 20, or how much do you think injuries slowed down the 2022 group? Because they weren't able to reach that sack number that they were at. The year prior to that, in 2021, they were at 38 sacks. They went down to 23 and a half. You feel like injuries slowed that group down?
I can't really put on injuries for the line. I just think
you're not a grimace. You're not a part of the grimace gang. You're not. Nah.
I can't be a grimace. Purple people, they look at football a little bit differently. I know that Sam Hubbard, you know, he had the broken hand, or was that Trey Hendrickson with the broken hand? Sam Hubbard had the calf injury. I know he was out. Like I recognize that, but I feel like this is the beauty of football, and this is the beauty of talking to a Bengals fan. I feel like everybody got them same circumstances all across the board, and a lot of our guys were suited up for those games. So I don't look at it. I just look at it like at key moments they didn't step up like they should have. Like I look at that AFC Championship game. What Pat Mahomes? I'm gonna recognize his injury. See how beautiful respect is. I'm gonna recognize the injury, and I'm like, if he is hobbled on the ankle, Trey Hendrickson, if he is who I say he is, he should be able to go get him. I thought Ossai played really good. And not just that one game, throughout the season, I just thought the sack numbers weren't there. But I will tell y'all, this upcoming season, having Myles Murphy as a rotational piece just shows you the amount of depth. And I don't remember the last time they had a defensive line this good. Do you? Or, I mean, when was that?
I think it's been a while, man. I think it might be like the Fisher-Price package days. I think they got a lot of depth. I think the loss of Ogunjobi did hurt them big time. Hopefully we can see Zach Taylor step up. But I think that you'll also see Myles Murphy move inside on some plays too to bring back some of that explosiveness. But, you know, I think another thing that we kind of talked about a little bit, and maybe it may have been due to the injury he suffered in 2021, Joseph Ossai early on didn't really get much snaps. I know that would always be a conversation like, why isn't he getting more snaps? I think he'll get more snaps during this season. I think Trey, it seems like they kind of, even in 2021, I feel like they put a lot on Trey's shoulders to just be the guy, and they didn't really have too many guys after that could step in and take some of that load off. Because even in 2021, Trey kind of slowed down heading into the playoffs. And so now I think it's more of a committee of guys and a better supporting cast around him. Sam Hubbard obviously took his game to the next level. But I do think that the defensive line this year, like you just said, is probably the best in years. If Myles Murphy is a top 15 like draft pick with Ossai, with the guys that we have, DJ Reader, like let's not forget that either. DJ Reader is back. He missed some time. This D-line gonna be nasty, bro. Like it's nasty. It's got a lot of speed. And I think that, like Mon said on the Bengals Post podcast, that is going to be key to helping some of these younger guys in the secondary with generating that pass rush. I truly do believe that. So I do think they'll be good. What are your expectations, though, for Myles Murphy? Do you think that he alleviates? Nah, you good.
I'm my bad. So I didn't even know that question. But Myles Murphy, for me, I think as a rotational piece, this is one thing that I would want to see, and I think this is where he comes in so vital for this team, is that in the Ravens game when Trey Hendrickson pretty much was taken out of the game when they remember they had to put Cam Sample in there, and then they asked Zach Carter to step up in the run game to take some of those wham blocks from the side. And teams that are going to be able to run power and counter right at them, running at Trey Hendrickson is exactly like what we talk about running right at TJ Watt or running whatever. You can't do that to Myles Murphy. I don't know if y'all seen the clip of Myles Murphy also running down Zay Flowers. So you're thinking about him as an edge guy, and then you're talking about we got some information on what Lamar Jackson looks like undercover too. So if you could get him in duress, and then you trying to scramble around. I got these linebackers going sideline to sideline. I got Myles Murphy on it, or like in NASCAR packages with Trey Hendrickson, or have the ability of him to stop Lamar on the edge or whatever. I just think that him being able to play quality snaps and be able to give them something that they haven't. And then along with that, I would love for him to get 4 or 5 sacks would be like nice to me. Anything above that, I'll probably be telling you like we probably only lost 2 games. If Myles Murphy gets over 5 sacks, we're not losing more than 2 games, because that would mean unless unforeseen circumstances. But if everybody's healthy and he got like 5+ sacks, I mean, bro, that line, you couple that with the fact that now you got a Woozier and CCB on the back end. I just don't know if that to me that's the best roster in the AFC.
You mentioned those 2 high shell looks for Lamar Jackson. He was number 34 amongst quarterbacks last year in the NFL when it came to that 2 high shell. So if, like Zim is saying, if you get that pressure on him with a Myles Murphy or somebody like that, you give him the 2 high shell look, that could be something that could hurt that new offense that they have over there for sure.
Hey, Ace, I don't think they be thinking we're coming with analytics or something like that. I don't know if they know.
Nah, they don't know. Them between the numbers passes is not looking good either. Those numbers aren't looking good either.
And this the wild part. If me and you know that, and now we telling all of the people that are in here, what you think Ludini in the office is doing right now? He knows that. So I feel really good.
You know what the craziest part is? Because purple people are probably in here, the Bengals are hating. They just hating on Lamar. Quadri Ismail on Locked On Ravens has said that before. He was like, Lamar Jackson struggles on throwing between the numbers. So if you want, that's your own purple person. That's purple on purple crime over there. So y'all got to go holler at him. But speaking of the Ravens, you can't speak of the Ravens and not mention Sam Hubbard. He says that he's in the best shape of his life. He had a big season last year. Will Sam Hubbard reach double-digit sacks this season? What you thinking, Zim?
I'm going to say no. Don't kill me, guys. I'm going to say no only because I think one of the goals for the Bengals is to be able to rotate in Zach Carter more, being able to rotate Ossai in a lot more, and then rotating Myles Murphy in a lot more, keeping Sam Hubbard as fresh as possible. Remember, Sam Hubbard has a very favorable contract for the Bengals side. If you look at his production in terms of edge rushers versus the rest of the crop of guys or whatever. And I think part of that is making sure Sam feels good in his role, making sure Sam feels like a leader, making sure Sam is healthy. Those are all different things that kind of coincide with guys that are probably getting less than when we talk about these contracts and different things like that. Those are little things that I think mentally that people don't really talk about that I kind of think about. Like, what will make somebody take a little bit less is that they feel value and they feel like people have their best interests. And I think that's, to me, the key for Sam Hubbard. I think his strongest ability is run stopping. That doesn't mean that he can't get double-digit sacks. I just think that one of their main goals is to get towards the end of the season and then start to let, like guys really like start going off and do a lot of crazy stuff. I almost dropped the F-bomb on here. I don't really do that often.
Nah, I think, if Sam was to get double-digit sacks, I think it would be probably like 10. And you never know, like the way sacks work, based off of them playing around each other, and you just never know who's going to be the beneficiary. It may be, DJ Reader taking on a double team and Sam's coming through to clean up or something like that. So you just never know. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but I think if it is double digits, it's probably 10. But I think, like Zim is saying, I think the key to this pass rush is kind of similar to what Philadelphia did last year, right? Like using a rotation of guys to, make sure that total number is higher. You might have one guy with 8, you might have another with 7, you might have another with 10, you might have another with, 8 here. So as long as they're able to do that, man, that's what I'm more so worried about is the total number for the team instead of the individual guys themselves. DJ Reader.
You might get 2 sacks from, you know what I'm saying? You might get 2-3 sacks from, you might get 2 sacks from like a Cam Sample. You might get a sack. You might get a sack from Akeem Davis-Gaither, sack and a half. So like that's to me what about you talked about Philly. Let me tell you this. One thing about Philly that made their offensive line even like crazier, the fact that they had a guy like Andre Dillard as like a backup on their team, right? But we know that he's capable of starting. La'el Collins being healthy at some point as like the Andre Dillard of this team, I think is a point of strength. And for the first time ever, I think we're going to be talking about how good the offensive line looks for most of the season. Did you know after week 5, the Bengals only gave up 1.2 sacks per game? I'm going to say that again. After week 5, they only gave up 1.2. In fact, Brett Coleman, who we interviewed last week, make sure you guys check that out on the Bootleg Football Podcast. Great show. They do a deep dive on all these different teams. They even had the Bengals as the 3rd ranked offensive line after that week 5 period when they go on a 10-game win streak. Warren Sharp also talked about the Bengals in the bulletin that we were reading, I think the other day. He talked about Joe Burrow being the 3rd least pressured quarterback in the NFL after week 5 as well too. So expect really good things from the offensive line in the depth. I just had to talk about that because you brought up Philly. I'm like, what makes Philly so special? Yeah, they got really great tackles. But bro,
he also came out with something today about the offensive line with them being, I think, the 13th best. If the Bengals are like a top 15 offensive line, like we've been saying this for years, it's gonna be a problem. Joe Burrow and the Migos and all of that, Joe Mixon, the new team, the new people that are joining this team, they're gonna be a problem, bro.
Do you ever think about when we did Penei Sewell versus Jamar Chase, right?
Yeah.
That now we're coming full circle. But do you know, like when we did that, I always felt like Penei Sewell would work, but I always felt like it would take more time. It was almost like I felt like, bro, we could just steal a Super Bowl real quick. And we just missed them 2 opportunities.
We didn't have Frank Pollock. We didn't even have Frank Pollock.
We were transitioning from that. And then we went. Yeah, we were transitioning.
I didn't mean to interrupt your thought. Go ahead.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like even if we reverse what we did and got Penei Sewell at that point, maybe Joe Burrow gets sacked. Well, I think Joe Burrow gets sacked last. But I don't think you had the success and you don't go to the Super Bowl.
You don't go to the Super Bowl. Jamar Chase is a top 3 receiver, man. Like, he's a bona fide.
I think he's a top 2. So look.
Yeah,
so then
too. I'm with you on that.
So 2021, maybe you win like 9 games or something like that, whatever. But then you don't get Dax Hill, all these different things happen. Mm-hmm. But then moving forward to the next part, maybe you get a really good team and maybe fall short in the AFC Championship game. And then so that's how I look at it. Like we're almost at that full circle moment where we're right back where we really started. Because it was always in my mind, like 2 years from now, the Bengals gonna be really good, bro. Like Super Bowl, here we are. Like no matter what, because now we have a competent offensive line. I feel like for the first time,
and it worked out because you got Chase. It was a struggle the first year, right? But we still made it to the Super Bowl. Then you pretty much made moves to try to rectify the situation. So you end up with a Cordell Volson. You end up with a La'el Collins at a bargain. You end up with an Orlando Brown at a bargain. So really, it's like. A lot of people saw what they were building in Cincinnati. I think a lot of linemen took notice. And a lot of people, like Orlando Brown said, wanted to come and play for Cincinnati. Like they know what the issue is. They know what's keeping us from getting over the hump. I think that they have it now, and I agree with you. Without Jamar Chase, it's not possible because without him, you don't have these three guys, which, I'm not going to say that they're the engine to the offense. They're the engine to the offense. That's no disrespect to the offensive linemen because they're the foundation. That's no disrespect to Joe Mixon because that's the run game that makes it all work. And that's no disrespect to Irv Smith or anything like that. But everybody knows if you give Joe Burrow and those guys, the Fantastic Four, whatever you want to call them, like they're going to cook.
I think Charlie Jones and Yoshavas, like, man, if the line could block I don't want to go off script too much, but if the line could just block these guys, like on islands, like being able to, like, say you're not going up against a Myles Garrett for a week. And I think you get a glimpse of that when we play like the Falcons, the Saints. If they're able to block a guy one-on-one, and then the Bengals start doing like different variations of 10 personnel and then now going 4 wide and stuff with Charlie Jones and stuff like that, it then starts. I've studied wide receivers in the history of NFL, and my favorite one of all time is the Rams in the greatest show on turf. I love the Bengals ones, but the Akeem dimension of it, with Ricky Prohl still being there as well too, like, to me, is something that people don't really talk about as much. But when you're able to block guys up front, you can spread them out, and that's what Joe Burrow's always wanted to do. And I think that that's something that you're going to see implemented throughout the season too. That's going to make us very scary. It's not something you could do every week in my mind, but I think that's what makes us like this juggernaut force where now the offense is finally like a top 3 offense like it deserves to be. They've always been teetering around top 6, top 7, top 3. They need to be scoring almost 30 points a game.
Nah, I feel you. Another person that I noticed, not to leave him out too, is Irv Smith. He was on that quarterback podcast. They were showing him when he was with the Vikings as well. But speaking of cooking, Zim mentioned Midwest Best Barbecue to Corey Dillon. Corey said that he's going to stop on in. So let's throw it to our folks at Midwest Best Barbecue.
Welcome to Midwest Fest, home of the G-Funk and Uno Wings. It started out very simple. When you can't find something that you like, you make it yourself. That small dissatisfaction has turned into our family business. Finding a good barbecue sauce without artificial smoke was almost impossible. So my husband, Tim, decided to create his own. Simply Sweet was born in our home kitchen in 2008. Our core values that we have for our family are values we felt were just as important to lay the foundation for our business and have in our team. Hard work, accountability, giving it your very best, warmth, care, and empathy, and of course, loving the Bengals. Our core mission at Midwest Best Barbecue is to be the place where warm smiles and comforting food made with love give you a meal out, but with all the feelings of home. Where our Uno wings make you do the gritty, and our sweet tea always hits the spot.
Hooray! 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 They gon' beat the Bengals! Hooray! 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 They gon' beat the Bengals! No!
Shout out Midwest Best Barbecue, 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. Man, just watching that commercial, seeing those brisket sliders, man, with the white sauce. Hey, I know the Kansas City fans were hating. They were dead wrong. I stopped up in Cincinnati about a month ago. That brisket sandwich, bro, I'm telling you, we're going to be there soon in a couple weeks too. I'm right back at Midwest Best Barbecue, and you should be right back at Midwest Best Barbecue. You can get the Uno wings. You can get the G-Funk wings. Nicole, the owner, Tim's wife, she's a star now. A lot of people recognize her from the commercial. So shout out to Midwest Best Barbecue, where you'll find great food and great fans and owners there. 669 Justice Court in Loveland, Ohio. That is going to wrap it up for today. I am Ace. He is Zim. Before we get out of here, Zim, was there anything, parting thoughts that you wanted to leave with Who They Nation?
I just want to say thank y'all for rocking with us. We know that it's a big break in between all that football, the real meat and potatoes of putting on pads and watching your favorite players in uniform. So appreciate you guys and guys and gals being able to like rock with us all this time. Always appreciate the support. I can't thank you all enough for tuning in. Please make sure you like, subscribe, send this out to somebody else. It might be somebody that you know is a Corey Dillon fan. Make sure you show them the interview. It won't be the last time that we talk to them. Make sure that you spread this out as much as you can, because a lot of people do not tell people about these interviews and do not tell people about this great information. And we really, really take pride in doing that. So please make sure that you help us out in that. And I really, really do appreciate you guys rocking with us. Whether you're who they or not, coming and checking our show out. We started this thing out and we just going to keep on rolling.
Yeah, we appreciate y'all. So please share this on, like Zim is saying, your social media. Any retweets or anything are greatly appreciated. Also, let us know in the comments on this video. I was thinking before the show, I listened to the Bengals post episode. I kind of like that breakdown Jake and Mom was giving on the Reds. Let us know in the comments if Wincinnati should have a Reds channel. Obviously, it's very hot right now. Let us know in the comments. We're debating it, but we want to see what you guys think about a Reds podcast potentially being added. So let us know. That's no guarantees or anything, but we just want to see. It's been a lot of Ellie De La Cruz mania. They are a hot team right now, 50 wins in first place. Like, it might be.
On that episode, did you hear how bad Jake was cooking the Browns in that joint? Yeah,
he was smoking.
If y'all want to hear somebody cook the Browns for and just tell you how bad they are, he does that often. It's in the beginning of the show, so you don't have to wait that long. When you leave here, just go and watch the latest Bengals Post episode. They did a really good job of just firing them up.
For sure. Well, this has been the Wincinnati podcast. And as usual, we're going to lead you with a yes, sirski.
Yes, sirski. Hello, world. We got a special show, as always. TJ Hushmanzada, Jimmy Chase, Coach Jimmy Burrow.
Time to be a Bengals
How do
fan.
you balance being a professional athlete and family obligation? These are top 5 Bengals of all time.
All time? Yeah, shock the world.